Good evening, guys. I'm saying good evening because by the time I'm recording this video, it's around 8:20 p.m. So, welcome to the arc. Most of you already know about the arc. We started our videos there on TikTok, but there was less consistency there because I actually had less time to finish the videos. So, here as I am recording this one, you will realize that I'm actually new to this thing. There are a lot of errors I will be making. 90% of those will be grammatical errors. Probably my speech won't be as best as you'd prefer it to be, but I think we will develop to be better as we create these videos. Moving on to what we are here to talk about. Manala Sak is a maths channel whereby I will be discussing maths related topics. A lot of questions, I'll try to solve them here. So you will get to realize that as I am working on this platform, there are several things which will need some fixing. Like for instance, my writing. My writing is not that clear. So the tools that I'm using now, I still need to get some acclimatizing to. I need to learn how to use them better or in the best way possible. So you will realize that there are some noises, maybe the background noise, or there'll just be a lot of things that are not up to the YouTube standard. So here, I want to start with the national, or what do they call this thing? National curriculum statement. The CAPS document, as many people refer to it. So the CAPS document, many people usually think that it's for teachers. That this document is something that you'd see in teachers' files, and therefore learners have no business in this thing. I would like to clarify that misconception. I don't think learners should actually avoid this document. Actually, I think every learner should have this, or at least every committed learner should find a way to get their hands on this document. Also, the ATP, I believe that most of you, regardless where you are attending school, probably your teachers have told you about a pace setter or an ATP, something that's made up of several topics arranged in order according to the way you are supposed to learn them from term 1 up till until the end of the year. So here I have the CAPS document, and the CAPS document it's actually different from the ATP. There are reasons why it is different, but I would highly prefer that you stick to the ATP in terms of the order in which you study your topics, most especially for the learners who study ahead. But the CAPS document is there to guide you on the weightings of the topics that you will be studying. For instance, here you have your ATP, which your teacher will always be using in class. You'll probably have it too. Every learner will usually have this. But for the CAPS document, this actually helps structure the way in which you should study maths. So it's saying here that you're supposed to spend 4.5 hours per week, the amount of hours with you studying maths. Obviously, this means that you'll have to do a lot of practice. But to be frank with you, 4.5 hours per week is not enough. My learners actually know that we actually chow this thing in a day, probably even more, especially when we are under pressure and we know that we have to do a lot of revision. So don't really set this 4.5 as a benchmark for you to be good at maths. You'll just be merely average. So here we have the standard that if you wake up at 3 in the morning to study maths, you'll actually have 14 hours per week in which you will be doing maths alone. So if you usually take a shower at 5 maybe, it will be in your best interest to wake up at 3 a.m. in the morning, study maths for like 2 hours per day. That's usually when you are fresh, you haven't touched any topic, you haven't done anything so far, you just woke up and the first thing you do, you study maths for 2 hours per day, 7 days a week. That's 14 hours. That's way beyond how the CAPS document suggests to you that you should study maths. So please try that and see if it uh, gets to bring in some changes in your life, and then I'm sure that your marks will improve. So on the very same KEPS document, I want to address the following. You have paper 1, you have paper 2. So here is paper 2 right there, and then there you have paper 1. So the KEPS document actually outlines for you the topics that you will be studying. So this thing is actually set to bring an outline about the things that you will be doing at the end of the year. So if you are in grade 10, grade 11, or grade 12, study this thing respectively based on which grade you are on. For instance, I want you to look at this topic, algebra. You have algebra and equations and inequalities. When someone is in grade 10, they'll actually be writing paper 1 in December for around 100 marks. In fact, it will be 400 marks. And in those 100 marks, you are expecting at least 30 marks of that to be around algebra and equations and inequalities. That's if you are in grade 10. And most of the videos which I will be doing here, they'll be based on grade 10 content, because that's the class I have currently this year. And then when you are in grade 10, you would realize that there are some topics such as differential calculus. You'll realize on the KEPS document that it doesn't show you any marks for differential calculus. That's because in grade 10 and grade 11, there's no learner who's studying differential calculus according to the KEPS document. So hence you see nothing there. It's telling you that you'll start learning about this topic in grade 12. And we have patterns and sequences right there. It shows you that in your 100 marks, you should expect at least 15 marks of that to be around patterns and sequences. That's for paper 1. So before you start the year, if you just open this KEPS document, you already have an outline of how your final paper is going to be, how many marks each question would roughly be. So moving to paper 2, I think I will start with trigonometry for this channel, because trigonometry is actually the main reason why this channel started. So for grade 10, grade 10s, I need you to realize, I actually saw this in my learners. There are some topics that are actually taking them light, without any light of how much will that topic weigh in the exam. So here's the trick. Around 40 marks of that, you expect your 100 marks paper that you will write for December to have around 40 marks of that being trick. Now that's a lot of marks. That's something not to sleep on. So you'll actually need to put in a lot of effort into understanding trig by any means. Word problems, trig in 2D shapes, knowing about the Cartesian planes, trig on that Cartesian plane, the bearings and things like that. There are so many things you need to master about trig for you to be able to pass paper 2. Many people who have failed in paper 2, it's because they took this topic for granted. It has the most marks for you, for the paper you're going to sit for during December. So there you go, guys. I'm going to start this channel by doing some trick and go through the KEPS document. It's easy. It's there online. Just type mathematics KEPS document PDF on Google, and then you'll get the PDF downloaded. Browse through the book and see how it goes, how it helps you to study for maths for your final paper. This KEPS document, it's meant to prepare you for the final paper. So please go through it and study more. I'm going to start uploading some videos. I'm going to start with trigonometry videos most probably. And yeah, this is for helping you spending more hours with studying maths. So as the videos will request from you to pause and engage, try to solve them first before you look at the whole video. Please oblige to that. It will help you a lot. So I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening or morning, depending on which time you are looking at this video. And I hope you'll hear from me soon. Cheers.